You've got concerns and answers abound. So what is it that makes the Ford Lightning and the Tesla Cybertruck truly awful or amazing? Well, I've got some questions you've asked here, and I'm going to answer them. This is part 6 in the series. Let's see if we can get through it. And of course, as always, there's timestamps in the description, so don't feel like this is just pure clickbait. No, you can skip around, go to the parts you want, whatever. Ford customers will buy a Ford because it's a Ford. There are a lot of people loyal to Ford, and as long as it gets the job done, loyal customers will buy and not get into the details on comparative specs. I saw a video with the Tesla Model Y sitting next to a Mach-E, and random people walking by were asked which one they would buy, and a surprising number said they would buy the Ford because it was a Ford. Yeah, brand loyalty will take you quite a ways. That's why the cola wars are unwinnable. That's why Starbucks is able to charge you $6 for a $1 cup of coffee. It's brand loyalty. But at some point, you have to look at the vehicle itself and decide if it's worth it. So for some reason, Starbucks ran out of toffee nut syrup 2-3 months ago. And I popped in twice since then, and they're still out. My wife gets a raspberry white mocha. They're also out of raspberry. And this isn't just my location. This is locations throughout my road trip through the whole Southwest. So guess what? I switched. I no longer get my mochas from Starbucks. And I've got a gold card, man. I was spending some coin there. So there can be reasons that overcome brand loyalty. And to suggest that they're not looking at the specs is ludicrous. If the specs weren't important, they wouldn't be published. Or they'd say, oh, it's going to do about this. It's going to be, good. It's going to be great. They wouldn't specify. And they're specifying because they're trying to have amazing specs because they know that is a competitive advantage. So, I mean, it'll still sell well. The Ford Lightning is still going to sell every unit they make, but I disagree with kind of everything you said. No solid criticism. You're a Tesla fan. Still keeping my Ford reservation. You also forgot to mention that repairing any dents on a Tesla is going to be as expensive as a new Tesla. Well, that's actually a very valid consideration. So first of all, when it comes to fairly minor or even fairly reasonable dents, the Cybertruck ain't going to have them, because it's thick stainless steel. It's tricky to dent it. But if you do get a dent, again, stainless steel, bang it out and buff it. And yeah, you may notice it, but if this is a work truck, who cares? And if it's a toy truck, you can fix stainless. You absolutely can. Weld new steel over it, buff it. A lot of people are going to have wraps on their trucks anyway. And if it's a serious collision, vehicles are already totals anyway. Sandy Monroe had a great bit about that fairly recently, where he explained that, that they just total cars. Cars are just totaled. And this is going to be less likely to be in an accident on account of the most advanced traffic awareness and accident avoidance system on Earth. You cannot buy a more capable accident avoidance system. This has got to be the worst, most biased comparison video I have ever seen, talking about stuff that he couldn't know unless he was a Ford engineer. So I'm glad you said Ford engineer and not Tesla engineer, because Tesla is a little closer to the sleeve when it comes to their internal workings, but Ford isn't. When Ford puts out their specs, they hit them. I've heard stories of some of their internal combustion engines maybe underperforming on horsepower, but those were things that were easily addressed or understood. But if the Cybertruck and the Lightning both hit their target specs, Ford loses. Dollar for dollar, it's not as good of a truck. And if you can get past its looks, it's an amazing piece of machinery. Can you get past its looks? I don't know. What if it's a really good cook and tells funny jokes? That worked for me. Pretty sure the engineers thought of anything this rocket scientist is jabbering about. Hey Ernie, we didn't think of this. Right. As far as looking the same, all of the tooling is present and ready to go. Duh. Okay. So, thinking about the problems and understanding the problems does not mean you have addressed the problems. I know I'm a fat guy. I know I should address it, and I haven't. I know. I should really get on that. As far as looking the same, all of the tooling is present and ready to go. Yes, and that's going to work against them, at least in the short to medium term, because, it doesn't need to, and it probably shouldn't look and be the same. Cybertruck equals Pontiac Aztek. Yes, a freaking joke. I can't see anyone who drives a truck for practical purposes beyond commuting choosing that over the Ford. Well, I guess prepared to be surprised. There are a number of contractors who've already said they're getting one because for their purposes, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. They can do a lot with it. And they want it. And it's capable. So, yeah, the Pontiac Aztek, I should point out, did not have 1 million plus pre-orders. What are they up to? 1.2, 1.5? Who knows? An absolute ton of pre-orders. And I'm sure a good number of them will fall through, but even if half of them fall through, that's more production than they can realistically handle over the first 2 to 3 years. So if you wish to get one, get in line or be prepared to buy a reservation off someone who did. Big and heavy are some of your gripes. It's a truck. Ford is definitely more pleasing to look at than the Tesla Jetson space truck. If you want to do a real comparison, do so. But because you own a Tesla or stock in Tesla, don't go on your propaganda rant. So, yes, big and heavy are my gripes. But those were gripes that were put forth by other people about the Cybertruck. These are not my complaints, although the Cybertruck is, any full-size truck is awfully big, and heavy is critical because the more it weighs, the less payload you can carry, the less cargo, the less towing. The weight it's important. And if you want to add more weight, you might need to bump it up a class so you can actually handle the weight. But Ford is definitely more pleasing to look at. Styling is a very subjective matter. I can agree that the Cybertruck is not for everyone. But when it comes to work trucks, I would argue, who cares what it looks like? Does it work or does it not work? Oh, and because I own stock in Tesla, I don't own a Tesla. This may come as a surprise, but my income does not support the current market price of a Tesla. But in my retirement, I do have Tesla stock, which I've been holding since 2019. So you, my friend, are welcome to do the math on that and let me know how you would feel if you had put some amount of money into Tesla stock in 2019. I always have a pickup truck. I will buy a Lightning with a diesel generator attached on the bed. After 250 miles, the generator kick in, a problem solved. I assume this is a sarcastic comment, but to point out, that won't solve your problem. A generator will not be able to deliver enough juice quickly enough to extend your range, and I'm certain that a car will not allow you to charge while it's in drive. It's a funny idea, but boy, that just defeats all the purpose. It's longer, wider, and taller by mere inches. Well, yes, that's correct. Inches add up. Inches matter. If you could make the Cybertruck 3 inches shorter or, narrower, wouldn't you want to do that? If you get the same performance, specs, cargo, in a smaller package, why wouldn't you? The Cybertruck is shorter, yet has a longer bed by 1 foot. Don't forget, heavier. But we don't know that yet, even though the body is aluminum and not steel. So we do know that. The body is aluminum, but it has been for years. So this is not going to introduce new weight savings on the F-150 that wasn't already there. And It's already said to have the beefiest frame ever on an F-150, which means the frame is steel. So beefier means beefier. It means more weight has been used, more material has been used. And so we've got all that, and then we've got the largest battery pack ever put, certainly in a Ford, but one of the largest, probably the largest, that will have ever been put in a vehicle. And batteries weigh an absolute ton. It's going to be heavy. And the problem with heavier is it reduces your total weight. It reduces how much cargo you can carry, because if your gross vehicle weight goes over a certain amount, you're in a different class, and that's problematic. So what we're going to see is it's going to be very heavy and very capable, but we're going to see a lot of people driving overloaded at weights it is not rated for. And I think that's a bad idea. And also, extra weight means extra fuel consumption, period. Well, that's enough for today, but there will be at least a couple more of these coming in the future. Future days, future weeks, who knows. Subscribe if you want to see them, or if you want to see them now, you can just click the link in the old corner rhubarb up there, and you can check out in the description. I probably have a playlist put together at this point. So there you go. So what did I miss or misunderstand? Pile on in the comments below, and try to do so politely. I mean, come on, man. And as always, my friends, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots in the fast lane. And thanks as always to my amazing Patreons who get early access, quite a bit of bonus content at this point, an ad-free experience, and help keep the channel running for as little as $1 a month. I literally cannot do it without you guys. And your support makes it so that I don't have to chase the algorithm and can instead spend that time making content that you actually want to see. Apologies if this Patreon list is out of date, but I made a bunch of these at once, and, I'll get you on the next one.